said, the camera there, make sure Rover sits there, not Plum sits down there. I said, oh, that's
You'll be all right. You'll be all right.
But you're the guy that trips over your own feet and gets hurt. Hello everybody, this is Joe Davis from Campus Nation here at the O on Lane. I'm here tonight with the Ohio State Club football team and their coach, James Grega. How you doing tonight, Coach?
Not too bad, Joe. How are you?
Doing great. Had a great season this year. Loved following your team. I'm going to give a little introduction of your team. First of all, since you've been coaching, 2018 record was 4-1 the first year. Joined the NCFA, and now you are 2019 9-0. Won the national championship. 2020 nothing. 2021 got it wrong here. You were 7-2. Won the national, and then 2020 no games at all that year. And then 2022, last year, you were 9-1. The only one you lost was the national game. This year, you're back again. So 4 years in a row, you're back at it. And this year, you're playing against Central Georgia Tech. And they look like a pretty good team when we saw them the other night.
Yeah, no, look, they're a great football team. Those southern schools, the South Atlantic Conference in our league is fantastic. Great coaching. They operate truly like junior college programs. A lot of kids who are looking to go elsewhere.
Right.
So they've got a lot of talented kids with D1, D2 talent. And so it's always a tremendous challenge for our guys. I think since we've been in the league, we're 1-1 against the South Atlantic. We beat Columbus State in the semifinals in 2019 and lost last year to Gordon State. So this will be the first time we will see Columbus State, or Central Georgia Tech rather, and it should be a tremendous challenge for us.
Yes, and one thing I like, you can't always draw this line, but you played, both of you in the last 2 weeks have played the same school, Michigan State. You won 52-0. They let them score. So I'm hoping that shows true there and shows something that you've got a defense that just shuts everybody down.
Well, we do have a great defense, and I think too the Central Georgia Tech Michigan State game. Look, I mean Michigan State was outmatched and undermanned in the trenches. Those southern schools usually do a great job of recruiting big guys, and they have great size and great speed. But I thought, Michigan State battle. I know Michigan State was down a handful of players. They had a lot of injuries in our game when we played them the week before. And then, just watching the game, you noticed they were missing some guys who played against us that didn't play against Central Georgia Tech. But, Central Georgia Tech jumped on them real quick out of the gates, 32-0. And then I think they probably pulled some guys, and that's where I think probably saw Michigan State, sneak some points in there. But, I thought Michigan State did a great job of battling. Down 32-0, they could have easily, folded it in, but they got to a point where, the running clock rule in our league is 35 in the second half, and it never got to that. So I thought they showed a lot of pride and toughness in the second half. But Central Georgia Tech's a great team. We'll have to be ready for them.
That'd be great. To show some of the people that might be listening that didn't follow the team all year, first game of the year, you went up to Michigan and played Oakland, which I know about Oakland. I've got a one of my grandson's father lives up near there, and then we had a basketball player from Wilmington High School where I live, and he played basketball for them for 4 years up there.
Sure, and you guys are Wright State guys, so you know the Horizon League.
Yes.
You know the Horizon League very well, and look, Oakland's not what they used to be in our league. They used to be a dominant program, a team that has 2 national championship trophies in their trophy case, but they've kind of fallen on hard times, but we still look at that as a rivalry. Obviously that team up north got the better of the varsity team over the weekend, but that's really the only the team up there that we have a good rivalry with. I mean, Michigan State recently we've played a little bit more, but traditionally in our league, Oakland has been the rival.
That was one question I was going to ask you. In your league, who was your big rivals, or do you have a big rival other than Oakland?
Oakland was the big one, and then prior to that, it was Miami of Ohio. The program unfortunately folded. We're hoping they'll come back. I know they're taking at least a 1-year hiatus. We're hoping they come back next year. But
yeah, I missed them this year.
Prior to Oakland, it was kind of Miami. But I would say, Oakland has kind of been our rival. We also had a stretch there where we played George Mason a lot.
Yes.
We got them in the national championship in 21. We played them earlier in that regular season. And usually have some close games with them. So I think George Mason we played 7 or 8 times, which is kind of crazy to think because they're all the way over in Virginia. But I'd say Oakland's our biggest rival and who we play consistently.
Wasn't that where one of the national games was held, or down there near there? Anyway?
The semifinals were held at George Mason last year.
Right, yeah, that's what I thought.
So we've been there before.
Okay, so you start off with Oakland 69-0. You come back with Wright State, which we were at. Rick and I went there.
Yep.
48-0. Then you were supposed to play Pitt, but they didn't travel this year, so they took a forfeit. Then to pick up a date, since you didn't have anybody, you played Ohio Northern.
Yeah.
And you beat them 46-7.
I think that was the game where we really kind of realized how good our team could be. Ohio Northern, D3 program, JV team. They play in the OAC, which is the toughest conference, I think, in Division III college football.
I do too. Yeah.
And you've got Mount Union, John Carroll, and those programs. We kind of threw it together last minute because we needed a game after Pitt forfeit, and that was kind of a test of our adversity. Playing on a Wednesday night, not easy for a club football program. Guys getting out of class, guys who couldn't play that game. We were down two or three starters in that game because they couldn't get out of an exam. As it goes with club football.
Right, because you lost a home game and then had to travel.
Right.
In the middle of the week.
So I thought, the way we went in there and dominated against a team that had probably 15, 20 more guys on their sideline, in a night game on the road on a Wednesday night, and you're kind of out of your element. I think that was the game where we kind of noticed how good this team could really be.
Then you came back and played, and you won that game 46-7. Then you came back and played Denison, where Woody Hayes started.
Yeah.
And I got my picture with the clock there on the end line. Then you won that game 30-3.
Yeah.
And then you came back against. Go ahead and talk about Denison.
What I liked about the Denison game was we showed we could win in different ways. I think the first 3 games of the year, Oakland, Wright State, and Ohio Northern, we had been really dominant through the air. And for whatever reason against Denison, they have a great secondary, but we struggled to throw the ball. We had a lot of missed opportunities. We had some drops in that game.
Yeah.
And we struggled to get yards in the air. So what I loved about that game is we were able to win that game on the ground, which is something we hadn't had to do to that point in the season. And so I was really proud that our offensive line was able to step up and finish a game off for us.
And you did a very good job running that game. And you didn't have you went into the season as your main runner.
Right.
And I thought the team did very good with the 2 running backs that came in and filled in. They looked very good the whole year.
No, it's a great point. I mean, Jonathan Thiel's our team president, and started the season as our starting running back. Got rolled up on in that Ohio Northern game, but had those first 2 games against Oakland and Wright State had run the ball extremely hard and played extremely well. And Jack Lang started the team, started the season on the roster, but J.R. Burton is the guy that we added, I think, after the Wright State game, and he just exploded onto the scene. And we have a stable of running backs now. We have 3 guys. We don't know quite about John's availability for this game, but we know Jack and J.R. provide a great 1-2 punch. And
with Matt, the gentleman that did the play-by-play at the semifinals, and they give it to Burton. He hadn't been in. Lang was in. Then Burton came in, and he only got a yard gain, I think, on his first carry. And I said, hey, just keep feeding him because this boy can break one. And again, not long after that, he broke one. Unfortunately, in a lot of his breaks, he had to come back, but he had the yardage whether there was a penalty or not. Unfortunately, you've got to come back on those.
Yeah, JR's done a great job, I think. Being out of football for a year, same with Jack, both sophomores who didn't play football as college freshmen. So to be out of football for a year and then step right in and give the production they've had has been fantastic. And luckily they're both healthy, and we've got a good 1-2 punch with both of those guys.
Then the downside, you went against Denison. It was a 0-0 game until halftime, and Rick and I were talking about that. Hey, this is a good equal team. Came out after halftime, and they looked like a different team, and I found out they were a different team. They added some players at halftime that unfortunately tilted the game a little bit, but your guys still played hard.
Yeah, I think the thing about Wittenberg was, their varsity team, I know, had a tough day the day before, and so a lot of their varsity second stringers played in that JV game. But look, we went up 7-0, took the lead. I think it was 7-7, tied at half, and then look, when you've only got, I think we traveled under 40 for that game, and they had probably 80 plus on their sideline.
Right.
You just kind of run out of steam in those situations. But I thought, we were down probably 3 or 4 starters. Abdu Kita didn't play. Daniel Zirkle, our starting right tackle, didn't play. Matt Humphreys, one of our best defensive linemen, didn't play. Zach Davis, one of our starting offensive linemen, was playing out of position, and he got hurt midway through the game. So, we had a lot of guys playing out of position. We had a lot of guys, we were down a lot of starters. What I was proud of is we battled to the end. We still threw for over 200 yards. I thought Spencer did what he could, hanging in the pocket, made some throws. So
great quarterback this year. Spencer Moore.
Yeah.
And I understand when he joined the club the previous year, when he first joined, he didn't tell you he was the quarterback.
Yeah, so Spencer joined in 2019, and he knew we had Kellen Gerenstein, who was fantastic.
Right.
And so he knew that reps at quarterback were going to be hard to come by. So he's like, I want to play receiver, and he's like, the last time he had played competitive football was like junior league. He didn't even play in high school. But he said he could tackle well, and he had a good first step. So he's like, I'll play defensive end. I said, okay. And then I saw him before we played Robert Morris that year in our second game. He was just playing catch with some of the guys pregame, and chucking the ball 40, 50 yards. And I said, why didn't you tell me? Back then we had a different backup quarterback.
Right.
I said, why didn't you tell me you could sling it like that? He's like, well, I knew I wasn't going to play quarterback. I said, well, you are now. You're my number 2 quarterback, and you're going to start getting the reps, because if Kellen goes down, and he ran the ball a lot.
And he did go down one time last year.
Yeah, and so we needed to have you ready. So what I think I'm most proud of with Spencer is he started his college career with us. He was our scout team player of the year. Didn't start a game in 2019. Just played a bunch of different positions. Played receiver, played tight end, played quarterback, played some linebacker on defense, played some defensive end, and did whatever we asked of him in 2019. Came back in 21, put on 10, 15 pounds, was starting tight end for us the last 2 years. And like you said, Kellen gets a concussion last year during the Toledo game, so our second game of the year against Michigan State, Spencer has to come in and play quarterback. He's waiting for that opportunity his whole career, threw for 300 yards and 4 touchdowns.
And it was funny because I was there and I knew him as your tight end.
Yeah.
So when he came the next week when he came into quarterback, I didn't know him as a quarterback.
Right.
And it was like, hey, this kid can play quarterback too. It's like, but I didn't know he basically had some quarterback in him.
Quarterback's his primary position. That's always been what.
But he looked like a tight end. He did good.
He's always been a quarterback first in terms of his skill set.
Right.
Quarterback has always been his number 1 position. But like I said, when you have a guy like Kellen Gerenstein, his playing time's gonna be hard to come by. He understood that, and he's the ultimate team guy. So he put on 15 pounds, moved to tight end, and did a great job there. But finally, as a graduate student, has had his opportunity to come back and play quarterback, and you see the numbers he's putting up.
And then you finished up. You finished up the year with Toledo, 66-9. Was that sort of also in your mindset? I want to show Michigan, who was ranked number 1, what they got coming toward us.
Not so much. After Wittenberg, ever since the Wittenberg loss, it's been win or go home for us. We had to beat Toledo to get to Michigan State. We had to beat Michigan State to get to Sacred Heart. We had to beat Sacred Heart to get to Central Georgia Tech. So it's really just making sure that there's a sense of urgency there, and understanding that, look, if you don't play your best in November, you're not going to win championships.
Right.
So, and look, everything after Wittenberg has been for some sort of championship or postseason title. We beat Toledo to win our division. We beat Michigan State to win our conference, and then we beat Sacred Heart to win our national championship. So, and we've been playing for something every single week, and I think that's been more than motivation enough for our guys.
And it was good for me after the booth. Didn't know that much about Sacred Heart, but I knew they were a good team to get there. And I went over and asked for the roster, and the coach just looked at me and goes, "I got no roster."
Yeah.
And just very snippy, and it's like, "Okay, I'm sorry, because if you can get it off the internet, fine, just don't bother me there."
And I mean, that's just coaches.
They didn't even come out for practice. That's what I was over there for.
Well, I mean, that was the setup for Sacred Heart. Was they had us warming up because the first game went out late, so they had us warming up in the indoor facility with Sacred Heart, and then we just we were out early. So once we heard that the first game had ended, we came in. But I think with the Sacred Heart coach, that's just you're in the moment, you're ready to go.
And I understood that. Don't bother me when we're getting ready to go. I
go.
understood that. But I was out there because I was told by the Toledo people, their schedule will be out here like 20 minutes before. And I was out there early to get them before they got to that point. And I understood that. Yeah, as a coach, I'm in I'm in the zone now. Don't bother me, which I understood. But it was nice to see you come out and take control of that game.
Yeah, I mean, look, anytime you're playing in a win-or-go-home game, a semifinal, your intensity has to be high. And I was a little concerned. Offense, we went 3 and out, got a sack, and we were a little sloppy, but our defense, again, fantastic. There was a lot of bend but don't break in that game.
There was.
Where Sacred Heart, marched maybe inside the 30, but then our defense stiffened and got off the field. Finally, I think there in that second quarter, we started to find our rhythm against Sacred Heart. Put up 21 points, kind of had a 4-minute drill and then a 2-minute drill that we converted to kind of put that game away, which was good. The whole goal, obviously the goal is to win first and foremost, but we wanted to try to put that game away as early as possible, knowing that we had a lot of guys banged up and we need to get healthy for that championship game. And I'm glad, we were up 34-3. We were able to do that.
Right. When you're up ahead early, and at halftime in the third quarter, you got a nice lead. You're able to throw in some guys here and there and give some guys some breather. That really helps.
A lot of guys out at halftime in that game, and I think that's done bodes well for us.
Okay. Here's some questions I have you throughout the year.
Yeah.
In your mind, who was the biggest or your toughest opponent?
Well, I mean, without a doubt, Wittenberg to this point. I think when you look at Wittenberg top to bottom, that's a D3 team with a head coach and a varsity team that has Division I experience, a team that has 80-plus kids on their sideline. Look, we played their direct backups, their number 2s from the varsity team. And so that was by far the best test we've had. Central Georgia Tech, I think, is right up there in terms of their size and speed. This will be a great test for us on Saturday. But I would say, to this point, Wittenberg far and away is the best team we've played.
Okay, great. Now, first one's offense, second one's defense, third one will be special teams.
Sure.
Your biggest memory play, whatever, of the year. First offense, second defense, third special teams.
For me, offensively, I think it was our first play against Ohio Northern. Spencer Moore hit Abdu Keita for like a 65-yard touchdown pass on the first play of the game. And going into that game, we had beaten Oakland and Wright State pretty handily, but now you're taking a significant. This is no disrespect to Wright State or Oakland, but you're taking a pretty significant step up in competition, going from Oakland and Wright State to a Division III program.
And that practices 5 to 8 days a week normally compared to you guys.
And we only had a couple days to prep because that game was played on a Wednesday.
Right.
So I think for us, we saw some things on film that we liked, and we decided, look, we're going to be going to their place. They had a good crowd there, a couple hundred people.
Nice little campus.
In Ada. Look,
I've been up there for basketball.
Not much more to do in Ada than watch football, right? We had a good crowd there, and we wanted to take the crowd out of the game early, and we wanted to jump on them early and send a message that, we're club football, but, we're here to play. And just because you're D3, practice every day, paid coaches, we wanted to send a message. And I think, that was a scouting report thing that we saw. We were going to take a shot on the first play of the game, and it hit. And we went up 7-0 on the first play of the game. And so offensively for me, that's the play that stands out. For me defensively, there's a lot of different plays, but I think the same game, that Ohio Northern game, Tyler Beckman one of our linebackers had a blitz and a hit on a run play where he just completely took the helmet off of a opposing running back. And again, when you're in those moments against the D3 school, where I think you go into those games and the other fans or maybe even the players don't take you all that seriously, when you can kind of send that message that, hey, yeah, it says club football, and yeah, we're not the varsity team, but we're playing D3 caliber football here. I think that was really nice to see. And special teams, I mean, look, our special teams, we blocked 11 punts this year in 8 games.
Yes, we noticed that. We talked about that often on the air.
The only game we haven't blocked a punt was Wright State. So I think for us, I think those have been game changers. Those have been ways we can steal points. And hopefully we can get one against Central Georgia Tech on Saturday.
One thing that stood out to me this year, other than your block punts, but on the defense, was the Denison game. I believe it was Glorian Goff had like 3 interceptions. One got called back, but he's technically still had 3 interceptions.
It was the Michigan State game.
Yeah. Oh, was that the Michigan State game?
Yeah.
And I remember that. Wow, I was thinking it was before then, but
Well, look, Lorian has been an unbelievable addition for us.
Yes.
He's a kid from Mater Dei, which is one of the top high school programs in the country, out in California. So he's played against the best high school competition that you can see.
Right.
And so he came in physically, ready to go, physically plug and play. He's ready to go. Once he got acclimated to our defensive scheme and our system, he's been fantastic, and he's playing his best football right now. It took maybe a couple weeks for him to get acclimated, but now that he's acclimated, and now that he's learned the defense, he's playing more physical, he's playing more downhill from that safety position, and I'm really proud of the way he's performing right now.
Right, and like you said, on special teams, you guys have your kickers are both good. Your punter and your long distance kicker, Zach Hayes, and who also is a freshman wide receiver, and but then Rive from Puerto Rico, or David Rive, as I say, because his mom liked him being called by his real name. He does a real good job kicking. I know he had hurt his back or something, and but I thought he did real good on the extra points and the short field goals.
Yeah, David's been great for us for 3 years. I mean, he's a junior in the program. He's been very consistent. Really proud of his production. Like you said, he's been dealing with some back injuries the last 2 years, but overall, it's nice to have. It's good. Not a lot of teams at our level of football have a consistent kicker. So to have a guy that you can, rely on for your extra points and probably anything in 35 yards or under, he's pretty consistent and can probably stretch it to 40. Given the wind and given the weather and the day, but to have a guy who's consistent, you can trust. That's big for us.
That's been good. And again, your team going after punts and field goal was just remarkable. I mean, it's almost like you guys say, "Okay, let's get it this time," and you just go get it. It's very good. Okay, let's see. Who are you losing this year?
I know for sure we're going to be losing David Cooper, who's kind of our do-it-all. Can punt, can kick, one of our top 3 receivers.
I think Hayes, I mentioned it. Cooper is one I mentioned a minute ago when I was talking about punting and stuff. Did very well for you.
David, Joe Ugo, one of our starting corners. Sam Dominguez, one of our starting left tackle. But luckily, the majority of our team, as I'm looking out right here now, we've got a lot of returning guys. We brought in probably our biggest freshman class, our biggest recruiting class ever this offseason. So we lose some veterans like Sam, our left tackle, was a member of that 21 national championship team. Obviously, Spencer Moore has been a member of both national championship teams in 2019 and 21. He's the only remaining member from the 21 team, or from the 19 team.
But he's still coming back, correct?
Spencer Moore's he'll be done after this year, more than likely.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I didn't know that. I thought he had one more year.
This is his 4th year in the program, so he'll more than likely be gone. So we'll have to replace our production at quarterback, more than likely. And Sam Dominguez at left tackle has been a 3-year starter, but at a lot of different positions, we've got a lot of freshmen. We mentioned Glorian, we've mentioned Tyler Beckman at linebacker. Those are both freshmen. Zach Hayes is a freshman. So we've got a lot of key pieces that are going to be here for, I hope, 3 to 4 years.
Who are you leaning on next year to fill in these gaps? Who for next year now, think of next year, what you've got, somebody that says, okay, I'm looking for big games out of him next year. Big thing out of this guy for next year, defense and offense.
I mean, Zach Hayes is a guy who's already, as a freshman, is playing both ways and even special teams.
He's been a shock.
I expect him to be someone who is potentially a captain next year. Just the way he's acclimated to the program.
He doesn't. But I didn't know he was a freshman when I first started doing
No.
this. And I'm out there watching him play. Then when I found out he was a freshman, I was shocked.
Yeah,
It's like he doesn't play like a freshman.
he's another one like Lorian. Comes from one of the premier high school programs in the country at Nazareth Academy, which is where J.J. McCarthy went to high school, quarterback for Team Up North. So he was coached really well in high school. You know, once he got here, the technique was already fantastic. It was one of those things you didn't have to teach him much. Just get him acclimated with the offense and defense, and then just tell him to go.
Okay. Other than Zach Hayes,
Yeah.
what would you say was your biggest surprise of this year? Coming into this year, what you're expecting, and then after the year looking back, what really surprised you?
Well, I don't even know Zach is a surprise. We knew how good he was going to be based on where he came from. Same with Lorian. I'd say the guy who's been, I think, could make an argument for MVP of the team is Patrick Parrish.
Yes, I agree.
Patrick, came in, joined the team only probably 2 or 3 weeks before the season started.
Oh, really? Wow.
He was already enrolled at Ohio State and had been kind of back and forth on if he wanted to play. Decided to come out, and I mean, the minute you saw him get on the field, you're like, well, he's going to have to be a two-way starter. He's just that talented. I mean, as a safety on defense, and even using him in certain spots offensively, his size and speed and his football IQ are just tremendous, and I think he elevates our team to a level we didn't know we could get to when he's on the field in any instance, offense, defense, or special teams. I think he's been the guy that you have Spencer Moore offensively and Abdul Keita as a receiver, and defensively Tyler Beckman leads us in tackles and all these things. But I think Patrick Parrish from top to bottom might be our could make an argument for MVP of this team.
And I agree, because there's many times I'm looking for Hayes, I'm looking for Keita when I got him out there, and then all of a sudden Parrish is out there and he comes through and he gets open and got the pass, and he all of a sudden, boom, 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 in several games was catching those key passes at that key time, and that's what made him special at that time. All right, couple more questions.
Sure.
All right, I'll hit on this one. What are you expecting this Saturday?
Yeah, look, we're going to play a really good football team on Saturday. Central Georgia Tech, their head coach, has experience in the league. He used to be an assistant for Middle Georgia State, who no longer has a presence in our league, but Middle Georgia State, when they were in our league, won a national championship. So, Coach Kendrick has experience in this league and has championship experience as an assistant coach. I believe he's an alum of Central Georgia Tech, so he's coaching at his alma mater, so he's going to be passionate. He's going to have a great game plan, just like myself. I played for this program. I coach in this program. He's going to have a great game plan. When you look at him on film, really great size in the trenches, offensively and defensively. Really good speed on the perimeter, and some really good skill position players. So, we're going to have to play well in space. And we're going to have to win matchups in the trenches, which is not an easy task. They beat Gordon State, the team that beat us in the championship game last year. They beat them twice.
Right.
So this is going to be a tremendous challenge for our guys, but I think we're well prepared. I think this year we're a little more well-rounded as a team. I think we're stronger defensively this year than we were last year. And so I'm excited to see what we can do in that game.
Yeah, and I know your players. I know you, and I know your players. With the season you've had, they're still not going into this game thinking, okay, we got this game in the bag.
And they shouldn't. And that's something
I don't think they will.
And that's something that we've already addressed, because I think last year there was a lot of talk about three-peat, and there was a lot of talk about what kind of legacy those seniors were going to leave, and I think it became too much. And we were humbled in that championship game against Gordon State. Obviously, they took it to us in that fourth quarter. So I think this year we're a little more tunnel vision. I think our guys are better focused this week. And, we had some things that went wrong last year, too. We had to practice out at Hilliard 30 minutes away because Ohio State took our practice reservations. Kellen Garenstein, our quarterback, had the flu all week, didn't practice. So there were a lot of things that went wrong for us. And we don't want to make excuses. Gordon State beat us, and they were the better team. But this year, I think we're a little more prepared. I think we've got our heads more on straight this year, and we're looking forward to a good game on Saturday.
Okay, now, off of football, you were from up near the Cleveland area, I believe.
Yeah, Brunswick, Ohio. Yeah.
Brunswick, know where that is. Why did you come to Ohio State? What was your motive to come to Ohio State when you did?
Yeah, my dad was a first-generation Buckeye and went to school here, went to business school here. And so I grew up coming to football games, in the 90s all the way up through, the 2010s when I started going to school here. My first Ohio State game my dad ever took me to, he paid for a 2.5-year-old to go to the Ohio State-Notre Dame game in 1995. So that kind of solidified, this is where I wanted to be. So I grew up coming to football games down here and going to the Horseshoe. And then, I played high school football. Probably could have played D3 ball, but frankly, I'd always wanted to come to Ohio State. Obviously, wasn't a D1 athlete, so I kind of thought my football career was over. And Ohio State had developed the club program a couple years before I enrolled. And when I found it, it gave me an opportunity to play again. So I was a starting quarterback in 2013 and had a great experience. And I'm fortunate enough to still be here coaching. But ultimately, it was my dad's passion for the school, my dad's passion for Ohio State that led me here, and that thank God that the guys who founded this program back in 2009 did what they did, because what they started, we've been able to kind of continue and build, and I'm really proud of what we've been able to build here.
What did you major in when you came?
Journalism. So actually, before I...
Did you want to be what I'm doing right now?
I was. I worked for 11 Warriors, and I worked for Buckeye Sports Bulletin for 4.5 years before I took on coaching full-time. I was a sports writer. I covered Ohio State athletics, but ultimately I realized coaching was what I wanted to do. So I moved into higher ed marketing and communications in 2019 so I could kind of coach more full-time.
So you went into this. Me, I did everything else but this. I worked at a bank. I worked at things. But every time I called somebody on the phone, they'd always go, wow, you have a great radio voice. And I go, I'd like to do radio, but, it's just not, I'm not planning for it, didn't go to school for it. And then, 12 years ago, Rick calls me up one day and goes, hey, I got to do a football game tonight. My regular guy can't do it. Would you like to do it? And I said, I never did anything like that. And I jumped in with Rick, and for 12 years now I've been doing this. So
here we are.
It's just a retirement thing.
Well, I appreciate you guys doing it and giving us a platform. And we've got a lot of out-of-state guys on our roster, and guys, parents who can't always see their kids play. So really appreciate all you guys do coming to our games.
We appreciate it. Thank you. And you make us feel appreciated. You and your whole team.
Sure.
What do you do at Ohio State now? I mean, I think you work there, right?
Yeah, I work in the marketing and communications office at the College of Arts and Sciences here at Ohio State.
That's good. Yeah. Now, one more question, then I'll let you go and get a player.
Sure.
If you were not coaching here,
what
would you be doing?
Hopefully coaching somewhere.
I know you used to coach at a high school. I don't know how many jobs you had before here.
Not many. I was a volunteer assistant back in Cleveland during the summers when I was home at Buckeye High School and then a Holy Name High School in Parma. And I was there for a handful of years.
Is that when you had the player that plays at Toledo?
No, that was when I was at Westerville South.
Okay.
I did 1 year as a quarterbacks coach at Westerville South, where I coached Daniel Mensah, who was a receiver at Toledo. But no, I kind of found that I had a passion for coaching after my playing career for club football was over. We had some experiences there with the coaches that weren't always positive. But I found that myself and a couple of my teammates that year, we had some football IQ and a way of communicating that I thought coaching could be something I could do. And so...
Well, I'll go on board in saying you do a great job with that.
I appreciate it. I appreciate you guys for all you do.
Well, thanks a lot. And send us a player and we'll talk to him.
Thanks so much, guys.
That was James Grega.
I'm going to send you Dylan Barron, my defensive coordinator. He's a 5-year player in the program. He's a 3rd-year coach.
I will. Okay. Welcome. We are back, and I have one of the coaches for the club team coming over to talk to me. Ooh, he almost knocked our camera down. I told one of the players not to knock it down, then one of the coaches almost knocked it down.
talk normal, talk.
Just talk normal in here like this.
Gotcha.
Don't have to put up here. Just right there is fine.
Yeah, I'm not as coordinated as these players.
Introduce yourself so people know who you are, because I'll screw your name up.
Hi guys, I'm Dylan Barron, aka Coach Barron. I'm the defensive coordinator here at Ohio State.
Great. I didn't know I was talking to a coach. I'd come up here. I knew I'd be talking. So I asked all my coaching questions to
man.
Grega, but I'm going to. I am glad he sent me you, because one thing I was proud of this year as a fan of you guys, as you can tell, I like them. Of
course.
We got to walk into my house. I asked Rick. I'm divorced, so all these years when I was married, I always go, can I decorate this? No, I'm decorating the living room. I'm decorating the family room. I'm decorating the bedroom.
And what'd you decorate it with?
I decorated the small bedroom into my office, and I painted it Ohio State Scarlet and Ohio State Gray. That and the paint said that on it when I got it. Ohio State Scarlet, Ohio State Gray. And I'll tell you this right now: never paint a room red or scarlet. Paint it gray and trim in scarlet. Oh, I found out. Oh my God! We used to watch one of those shows on cable TV where they decorate a house.
Yeah.
I found out after I did it. The guy under says never paint in red because you got to paint it 20 times compared to 2 times.
I'm sure it looked beautiful when it was all
It
said and
looked
done.
great. I tell you what, I loved it. I hated leaving that room when I got out of there. Okay, one thing I loved was seeing this: 69 nothing, 48 nothing, 52 nothing. What kind of? I mean, I think one of the first was your offense scored on, or your defense scored on here.
That was a kickoff return for a touchdown.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember what it was because I couldn't go to that game. I refereed volleyball, and it got moved to Wednesday night. Saturday or Sunday, I'm there. Well, not Saturday evening. I could be there. Sunday, I'm at all your games. Wednesday, I'm refereeing. I'm already refereeing volleyball, so I can't go. So I couldn't go up and watch that game.
Yeah.
And so we didn't go. So I heard that the defense was not scored on, and I believe technically I can't remember what here this Dennis in the 3-point. That was on the defense. I mean, they got
That was on us. That was on us. They drove down. They embarrassed my guys. Yeah, that was solely on our defense.
It was only a field goal. You would still not had a touchdown scored on your defense.
Correct.
Your defense.
Well, not our defense. There's a lot of coaches that go into this defense. We actually have some really good assistants who have stepped
I
up.
see a lot of
helped out a
offensive
lot.
guys here. They had nothing to do.
they all hate me, so they don't come often.
All right, and so Wittenberg was the first time your defense got scored on for a touchdown.
Yeah, well, there was a punt block for a touchdown, and then a fumble recovery for a touchdown too. But yeah, we certainly got scored on.
But there still was a touchdown.
Yes.
That was the first time. But I also heard that they threw in some varsity players against you, which
Wittenberg had a really great roster, good personnel, but Central Georgia Tech, they're going to have some really good guys too.
Yes, I saw that. And they look pretty big too.
Oh yeah, good size, good speed. It's a great combo.
But then again, after that, Toledo 66-9. That was all field goals, if I remember right.
It was a field goal, and they had a touchdown on their last drive.
Oh, was it?
But they
went for 2.
I don't want to get too into making excuses and stuff.
No.
Well, they had 2 big kickoff returns that got them pretty close to they got them in the goal line.
Right.
Capitalized.
But remember, you shutting them down when they get. And then, of course, Michigan State, number 1 ranked. And I know they had injuries. Again,
they had a lot of injuries.
And they got more injuries as the game went along, too.
Certainly, yeah.
And but still, you kept them out of the end zone.
Yeah, and we take a ton of pride in that. Absolutely.
I mean, they still had the injuries the next week when they played Central Georgia Tech, and they scored. Whether they put in reserves, whatever, they still scored on their team, which they didn't score on your team. So I took a little bit of that.
We do take a lot of pride in shutouts. And these guys, I mean, it's really on the players to hold us to that standard, and they certainly do that. They make sure that, whenever we let up a first down, it's unacceptable, positive yardage, it's unacceptable, and let alone a touchdown or a field goal. So when you hold yourself to such high standards, even if you fall short of those standards, you end up winning games and dominating.
How old are you?
I'm 27.
I was gonna say you're a little younger than me. You look pretty young. So to be doing
young at heart.
to be as well as you're doing in a coaching position with these players at a young age. You're doing a great job.
Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate that. And I was blessed. So my first year coaching was back in 2019. I played for 5 years, and then Grega, after being my coach for my final season,
Yeah, I was going to say, what years did you play?
from 2014 to 2018.
Did you play with Grega?
No, I didn't. Grega's last season was in 2013.
Okay.
And my first one was 2014. So we just missed each other. But then when he came on as a head coach, it was my last year as a player.
Right.
He gave me the opportunity. I was a Mike linebacker, so I was doing a lot of the calls, a lot of the signals. He gave me the opportunity to keep coaching, and it's
You
been
didn't let
great ever
anybody
since.
steal those signals, did you?
I try not to.
Nobody up in Michigan area or anything.
Oh, we certainly
You don't
hope
say-
not.
you
Yeah,
don't
we.
say the M word here.
Oh, absolutely not.
My grandson, who now lives in South Carolina, but he was up here. He was talking to someone, and we were talking about football or something. And anyway, he said something about Michigan, and the guy went Michigan looked at him sort of funny, and he goes, "We don't say the bad word," and he was dead serious.
Oh.
He was dead serious.
Gotta love the rivalry.
Okay, as a defensive coach, forgetting what Greg told me earlier, who was your biggest opponent setting up for and playing in the game this year?
Biggest opponent. Well, it's always
You know,
in a way it's
preparing
always
for.
it's always the next opponent,
Right.
Because that's always the next biggest opponent. And our schedule has been pretty interesting, where it almost kind of went that way, where each week either the competition level rose or the stakes rose. So Wittenberg was certainly the toughest our defense has fared to
Right.
date, but the next week it's win or go home against Toledo.
Right.
And then it's win or go home against Michigan State.
Right.
And then it's win or go home against Sacred Heart. And I will say, I thought Sacred Heart was really well coached when they played us. They exploited some things we didn't think they were going to be able to. Thought they did an overall great job.
Okay, if you were not coaching the Ohio State club team, what would you be doing?
Well, I'm currently a financial analyst for the Hard Rock, so I guess I'd be a little better at my job if I wasn't coaching football. So if you guys ever want to go to a casino, no comment. We're not giving anyone any reason to play better than they already are going to. So I'm not setting those odds.
On the defense, who was your biggest surprise player?
Oh, biggest surprise player.
That you had to come in. You coming in the season, you knew your players, you saw them in practice, but as the season went on, who's the one that maybe just, wow, man, he did better than I thought he was going to do.
Well, the interesting part about that is I live in Miami for a lot of the year where I work, Miami, Florida, so I don't get to see these guys a lot in the spring. I get to see some film from high school, but oftentimes when this season starts or 2 weeks before it does, it's all new. It's one big question mark. How's this team going to end up? And I will say there's a lot of guys I love. If I had to put it on one guy, Tyler Beckman, number 3.
Yes.
He came up after the first film review. I knew he'd been a safety in the past, but he had a good frame. He shook my hand and said how interested he was in playing football and how excited he was to continue on with his playing career. And he's been awesome ever since. He's stepped up as a leader right out the gate, and he's been very helpful for us.
Well, I appreciate it. Appreciate meeting you tonight.
Great to meet
and,
you.
You did a great job all
Oh,
year.
love the job you guys do, especially. Thank you so much for bringing this entertainment to us, guys.
All right, send us our next victim.
Okay.
Spencer's coming up.
Spencer.
More.
Who's next?
Dominguez. Oh.
Dominguez? Is that Dominguez?
And one more thing. Be sure to wish James Grega a happy birthday.
Oh, yeah.
It is his birthday today.
Was the players going to
Yeah.
sing? Let's just start
We already sang him a happy birthday.
You did?
But,
Oh, man.
you all at home, make sure you're wishing him.
A happy, what is he, 26 years old birthday?
Yeah, I think I got a year on him. He's 26 and 27.
Tell Greg a happy 26th birthday, guys. Alrighty, let me get your first name here. I gotta find it here. Samuel?
73, yep.
All right, Sam. There it is. Sam. Yeah, Sam. I knew that name. I'd seen it all year long, but all of a sudden, Dominguez, I knew. It's like, oh shoot, what's his first name?
Yeah. Got it.
Sam. Yeah, it wasn't Samuel in there. It was always Sam Dominguez.
Either way is good. The team knows me as Sam. So yeah, it's all good.
Where are you from?
I am from a suburb of Los Angeles.
Suburb from Los Angeles. So
out
you're
in
another
California,
California
yeah,
guy coming
so-
here. I didn't even look at that when I got here because I knew we had one.
Yeah.
San Dominguez, Los Angeles, California, Loyola.
Loyola, yeah. Was there for the Thanksgiving break. Longer flight, but glad I got to see some family and back here for the game this weekend.
That sounds good. I'm glad you're back.
Yeah.
Got a big game coming up this week. Of these games right here, which is the one that stands out for you as a player? Does any one game stand out that you had a great game or something about the game stood out to you?
I think that Toledo game.
Right, yeah.
That was a good game because it was a significant build-up for that game. We had just come off that loss against Wittenberg.
That makes you hungry, doesn't it?
Yeah, and Toledo had a bye, so we knew they were going to be ready, as they were years before. But we wanted to see.
They've always been pretty good against you guys in the past.
They give us their best shot. They're one of the closest teams we play besides Wright State.
Right.
So they're going to give us their best shot. We knew that, and they had a bye week, so extra week to prep, and we had just come off a loss. So.
And even though Rick and I went to Wright State, I love it when you throttle them down. I love it.
Yeah. So it was interesting to see how we would play. It was our only home game too, so it was good to have our fans have a home game. But I really enjoyed that game.
I don't want to say I'm a Buckeye fan, but my bathroom has the curtain and towels with Ohio State on them.
There you go.
And on the floor, my bedroom has Ohio State. Pillowcases, Ohio State. Window, Ohio State. My living room, I have an 8x10 rug, Ohio State emblem, and I have a thing my son made me, painted it with the Ohio State gray paint.
Really?
And it's about 5 feet tall, and it's got several little shelves on it, and it's filled with stuff. My pride and joy is the football signed by Archie Griffin.
Oh wow!
But then I've got another thing across the room with Ohio State. I've got walls just covered in Ohio State, and I sort of like Ohio State.
But you wouldn't call yourself a fan. You're not a fan, though.
No, I'm not a
okay,
fan. I just sort of decorate that way.
Right. You like the color.
But it's pretty good. So anyway, this year. So we got your. What is your personal biggest memory of the year for you?
For this year.
And you can do this year, and then you can go back and say, well, last year I did this.
Yeah.
If there's a big memory you've had in the past, tell me about it.
Maybe recency bias, but this past weekend, or I guess it was 2 weekends ago, our last game against Sacred Heart.
I mean,
semifinals.
Yeah, you're right. 2 weeks ago.
Up in Toledo.
Right.
Against
I was
Sacred
thinking
Heart.
2 weeks ago.
Yeah. I think that was a good one because we get to play someone out of our conference.
Right.
We knew there would be a tough team, and we were excited to see getting back to the semifinals, getting back to the playoffs, and just seeing what kind of team we had. We knew we had a strong team, and we knew we were contenders for the national championship, but being able to go out there and do what we knew we were going to do.
Does it make you
That was
proud? I sort of know the answer to this ahead of time, but does it make you personally proud when you're you're on the offensive line?
That's right.
The play's going over you, and no matter which running back it is, all of a sudden breaks one and goes. Are you when it happens, even though you're thinking, hey, that runner made a great, but you're sort of going, great block, way to go.
It's always a good feeling when the offensive line, we do what we know we do, but if there's 5 guys on the offensive line, if one person doesn't do their job, it all falls apart. It takes all of us to get it done, and we have great running backs.
One thing that stands out to me, since I did 90% of your games this year, I don't remember too many offensive line penalties.
That's right.
I don't remember.
There might be a few there.
There might be
went
one
back,
or two
but
throughout the whole year, but some games you'll have 3 or 4. And when you're watching regular football, in the whole year I can't remember saying, oh yeah, there was one in this game, or oh yeah, I remember. I mean there probably was somewhere, but I don't remember them because you just didn't do them that often.
Yeah, that's something that we take a lot of pride in. I wouldn't say it's something we necessarily commit to work on at practice, but I think it really speaks to the discipline of the offensive linemen and our technique and the technique that our coaches have instilled. And really, we want to minimize the yards we're giving the defense. So the less penalties, the better. I think we've gotten a good job at doing that.
Okay, why are you at Ohio State in the first place?
That's a good one. So, first and foremost, I'm here studying computer science and engineering, and I'm fortunate to have received a scholarship, a pretty significant scholarship to attend. and study computer science. So that was the first
to come
thing.
come from California to Ohio State, and you're not coming with a to play with the team.
Right.
So for a guy to come from California to come here, you understand that. But for a guy to come here cross country, so it's like, okay, why did you pick Ohio State? Why are you coming here?
Yeah, so I knew I wanted to be in a big city, being from Los Angeles area. So I looked at
Columbus
schools.
is a big city.
Columbus, but when I first came here, I'd never been out here before. I kind of had this idea of the Midwest and cornfields and all that. When I came here, I was blown away. How big the city is, and it's awesome.
Yeah, we got several of those. Dayton's. People consider Dayton a big city. You got Cincinnati.
Yeah.
At one time was the second. It's a cross between Cincinnati and Columbus. Who's number 2? Cleveland, of course, is number 1. Toledo isn't, a tiny city either. So, compared to, people from California always think of, from Ohio, cornfields, and, they don't think of us being.
Right. Yeah, so coming out here was great. I got to study engineering, which is what I wanted to do. Got to play football here with the club team, and I didn't think I'd play football after high school, so it's all working out very well.
And what are your plans? Do you graduate this year?
In May.
That's what I thought. That's what I thought. I'm not going to have you back to pick on next year.
Unfortunately not.
Okay, so I got to pick on you tonight to make up for it. What are your plans when you graduate? What are I hope you have plans.
Yeah. So
I didn't when I graduated. I just.
So the plan is to go back home to California, Southern California, and work in software engineering.
Okay.
To put my degree to use.
You're going to miss this?
I am going to miss it.
This cold weather we're having here?
When I stepped off the plane yesterday after Thanksgiving, man, this is a lot colder than what I just had the past few days.
Yes, we did drop down real quick. This is the coldest right now today, and we've had all winters. All fall and everything.
Yeah. But being in the weather is fun. I didn't have this kind of weather growing up as a kid. Definitely not playing football in this weather. So it adds an extra
Did you see
element.
your first snow in Ohio?
I did.
Yeah.
First snowfall was here.
What was your thoughts of being around your first snowfall?
I was probably the only kid on my dorm room floor
that liked
it. Make snow angels on the, that kind of thing. I was out there and having a blast, and I was enjoying it for the first few weeks, and then I became like everybody else and wished it was warm again. But I was definitely having a good time.
Well, the good thing, in December 21st, I'm driving to Charleston, South Carolina, actually Summerville, which is a suburb. Cool. And but I'll be 20 miles from the ocean, and the weather there is probably going to be about anywhere between 50 to 70 degrees.
That's going to be nice.
And then I'm going to be there till New Year's Eve. I'm driving home on New Year's Eve.
Okay.
Because I don't want to drive the opposite. And then 6 days later, I'm flying back down there.
Okay.
I have my granddaughter and my ex-wife both having surgeries on the 11th and 12th of January. 12th is my birthday.
Right.
So I'm going down there for the first time to spend my birthday down. So I'm spending Christmas there, which I've never did, and I'm spending my birthday there, which I've never done. But I'm also going to have a big chunk of the cold weather down there. I'm going to hate coming back around the 18th, 19th of January.
Yeah.
But Rick's wanting me to come back and do basketball games. We do high school basketball.
Oh, very cool.
And he's very upset at me for leaving, but it's like, hey, que sera, sera.
Escape the weather when you can, right?
All right. So, anyway, you don't talk. I don't. I'm doing a football game. You're mostly talking about the receiver. You're talking about the running backs. You're talking about the quarterback, whatever his name is, Spencer Moore, something like that.
That's right. Yep.
And unfortunately, and then you're talking about the defensive backs, the safety and the ones that knocking the ball down, making interceptions.
Right.
You don't talk about the offensive line a whole lot. I will say this: you're one of them that, if I did mention you, you are one that's sticking out to me.
I appreciate that.
And it was nice seeing you out there. And I hate seeing you leave. That's going to be a crush to us, I think. Seeing you come off the offensive line, I don't know if anybody's just going to step into that spot. Somebody can do a good job. I don't know if they're going to really step right into your spot. It's going to be hard to fill.
Yeah, we have talented guys, and I'm more than confident that whoever plays the left tackle position will do just as good, if not a better job. So
All right.
I'm happy to be part of the tradition.
I'm glad you could stop by.
Great.
Good luck in your endeavors in the future
Thank you
in
very much. I
California.
appreciate it. Thank
All
you.
righty. And send us, or have Greg send us the new guy. Spencer. All right. That was Sam Dominguez from Los Angeles, California, who played at Loyola. Now we have Spencer Moore. Or is it Moore or Spencer? I get those two mixed up, sometimes. Okay. Just a little, that's a little humor I try to throw in there now and then. I know this, but I want to look at it before I talk to you again. You went to Lakota East. I do a lot of volleyball at Lakota East. I used to referee basketball. I've retired from that for several years. Bad knee, which I build up, but I'm not going back in. It's like, okay, I'm 69 years old. My goal was to referee basketball until I was 70, but I had to get out. I'm still refereeing volleyball, and I do a lot of volleyball at Lakota East, so I know where it's at, and know where the other one. I don't want to say their name, but it's west of you.
Yes.
Anyway, so go back over some of the questions I've already asked them. Tell everybody a little bit about Lakota East. What town is it in?
It's in Westchester, Ohio.
Westchester.
And I didn't play football in high school. So,
I know that. I know a little bit more about you than you think. And I also talked to your mom. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I got you. Massive school. My graduating class was almost 900. Every sport under the moon is there. Weren't the best at football.
Can you imagine if Lakota had never split?
Yeah, that was like maybe 20 years ago or so, maybe a little more.
If it had never split, can you imagine what the class
we should be a lot better than we are because Lakota West is pretty damn good.
Yeah.
And East is nowhere near West. So hopefully that turns around here shortly.
I'm sure it will.
I know
everything goes in a cycle. It seems like.
I know. Last year we got John Kitna as the head coach.
Yes. Rick and I were talking about that the other day. In fact, we talked to you, and we talked about on the way back from Toledo. We were talking about that.
I think his son is the quarterback, and he's committed to Houston. I think.
Is he short like Kitna, or is he taller?
I don't know. I haven't seen a game. I kind of want to get out there.
Maybe
and see
takes after his mom's side of the family.
Yeah, I know he's a senior next year, but I think they only went like 2-8, 2-9 this past year, so not too great. But yeah.
But you're in a tough league.
Yeah, the GMC's tough.
The GMC is very tough.
Coleraine, Princeton, West. Who else is in there? I know Middletown's not too big into football.
Not what they used to be. They used to be pretty good. I don't think Wyoming's in your. I think they're underneath you guys, aren't they? Down.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. I was trying to think because I do the GMC volleyball, so I'm trying to think. But I do all the leagues, so they blend in together sometimes. But you do. Your school plays a very, very tough league.
I think Mason as well.
Mason's in there, yes.
That's
and they're a big
one.
school. They need to split like you, but they can't split because of the Ohio law that says if you split, when you guys add a science room, West has to add a science room. When you guys add this, they've got to add that. Or when they do something, you've got to do it. If Mason splits, they've got to build another program where they have the swimming pool and all that for the city. They got to build another one. So it's either build two of those for the city of Mason, or which they may do one day if they get so big.
Probably, I know the city's growing massively, so they might have to here shortly.
I think they get a lot of taxes from that playground across I-71.
Yeah.
Called Kings Island.
Yeah.
All right. What's one of your biggest memories of the year? Of all these games, if you need to look at them, there's all the games.
I think there's a lot. The first one probably have to be the Oakland first year starting quarterback, and Oakland's kind of a big rival for us, and you go out there and
Greg was telling me about that.
Break the team record for points in the game against them, and then obviously Toledo's come up in the past few years, so to beat them pretty good as well. They had a good team this year. Those two stand out. I like playing the JV, the D3 teams.
Right.
Those are good competition.
That is a good
change
competition
of pace.
too, yes.
But yeah, those are some good memories this year.
Now, how did it feel to you coming into Ohio State, telling Greg you want to play, but say, hey, I'll play anywhere. And you didn't tell him you could play quarterback because Gerstein there. And
but he still needs a good backup in case Greg he goes down, which he did, and you stepped in.
Yeah.
So now that this year you were the guy, how did it feel back there being in your position that you felt more comfortable
It feels
at?
good because that is definitely my most natural position. I came in, told Grega like, hey, I'll play anything. I just want to play football, and because I had looked up the team in 18, I knew of Callan, so I'm like.
I mean,
He's
from a
the
guy
starter,
up in
I'll
the
just come in.
stand,
Yeah.
where I'm at, you look like a tight end. When I saw you playing tight end, you look like a tight end.
Yeah.
Then when you got back to quarterback, here's a guy who can also play quarterback. And then I found out later, basically that was your position,
Yeah,
but you
growing up.
didn't get a.
Played quarterback growing up, and then I played a lot of baseball as well. So just throwing
It's probably
motions.
good. You didn't wear your arm out in
Yeah.
high school, and
Yeah.
then came back, so you still got a strong arm. I thought you looked very, very good back there.
Appreciate it.
You looked calm when things weren't calm at times, and you were able to run. You're a big guy, so you can run. And the little safety is coming up and sees you coming toward him. I'm sure he's like, "Oh shoot!"
Not my first option, but if it needs to be done, it will be.
When you're as good a passer as you are, you don't need it to be your first. I mean, it's like the guy that used to play at team east of Ohio against the Bengals from Pennsylvania. I won't. He played for a school called Miami, I think.
Yes, okay.
He's a big guy. He could run if he needed to,
Yeah,
but
he just wanted to take
wasn't first.
Yeah.
Wasn't his first option. But no, you've got a strong arm and accurate, and you look very good back there.
Appreciate that.
So, any game stand out to you as far as, man, I love that game because I made 5 touchdown passes? Or I mean, is there anything that stands out to you?
Yeah.
Or one pass that, man, somebody made a good catch for you, you know?
There's been a few. I mean, the game that stands out, I think, is Toledo. I think I threw 7 touchdowns that game.
Yes.
I think one of my favorite throws of the year was I threw a corner to David Cooper, second half in the back left corner of the end zone.
I remember that. You said that. Yes, I remember that one too.
But I've had some good throws.
You've had some good throws to Cada throughout the year.
Cade has been phenomenal this year.
He's got some speed, so if he gets open, and it's nice. One thing I like, Zach Hayes,
Yes.
freshman, didn't play like a freshman.
No, absolutely.
And I was on the field last week. I was just out there early trying to get the lineups. I had your lineup. I've had it all year, so I didn't need another one. But I needed the other team, which they never gave me. And but I was trying to get the lineup from them. Well, he's standing like right here, and I'm standing right here. I'm 6'3", and I'm looking up at him. It's like, so to me, that's for a quarterback, that's got to be a nice thing when you got a big target like that.
Yeah, he's kind of the
He's got great hands.
He kind of reminds me a lot of Casey Scroggins from last
Yes,
year.
last year, Scroggins.
Same kind of build. Maybe not as fast as Casey, but great hands, great body. Gets open and sure hands. He's gonna.
Yes.
If I throw it to him, he's gonna catch it.
Yes. So, looking at that, I thought that was, as a quarterback, you had to be, like, great. Now, you have one more year or this
No,
year,
this
last year?
is it.
That's what, I forgot. I was thinking going in that you had one more year.
Yeah.
And I asked Greg, and he goes, no, this is it. This is it.
So
and it's like,
hopefully
oh,
we can
man.
go out on a
You
win.
know, is there anybody on the team that's been backing you up that might step in, or is he looking for someone new coming into this?
Our backup, Patrick, is mainly a defensive player, and he thankfully hasn't had to play any quarterback yet because I've been healthy.
Right, you've been healthy, and that's been very good.
But if he needs to play, he absolutely can. He can throw. He's a lot more mobile than me, so he adds a different threat.
He can, if there is trouble, he can run away from it.
yes,
Okay,
absolutely.
Well, I want to thank you for stopping in.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
And I appreciated you the whole time I've been with the team doing this. And I talk highly of you all the time.
Thank you.
So
I really appreciate that.
and-
Thank you guys for all that you guys do.
I appreciate it. Is there anybody else coming on? That's it. This is it. Well, we want to thank you from Campus Nation. Had a great time here at on Lane.
So that's a wrap, Joe.
And that is a wrap tonight. I want to appreciate Rick Phillips for coming here, and we hope to do maybe more from the on Lane.
We'd like to. Obviously, we're not going to be doing the national championship game. That's
Right.
already been prearranged. But I talked with Coach and wished them all the luck, told them to bring back that trophy, and hopefully here by this weekend we'll have another national championship.
All right.
All right?
Thank you, and good luck.
Yeah.